So the Department of Justice, which under Bill Barr grotesquely morphed into Donald Trump's criminal defense firm, is about to be handed back to the people. Let's talk about that. Because restoring some semblance of justice to the Department of Justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kushner here. So there's some good news. The Department of Justice is about to become the people's law firm again, as opposed to Donald Trump's criminal defense firm. Because we'll be going from Attorney General Bill Barr to Attorney General Merrick Garland. I mean, frankly, that's like going from Al Capone to Elliot Ness. And there's more good news, because the investigation into what happened at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th is being headed up by my former office, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia. And let me tell you, folks, that office is made up of more than 300 career prosecutors, honest, ethical, hardworking, dedicated prosecutors. And the investigation is being run out of two sections at the D.C. U.S. Attorney's Office: the National Security Section, which makes perfect sense. This was a national security incident, an attack on the U.S. Capitol, and it's being run jointly out of the Public Corruption Section. The reason that's important is because the Public Corruption Section investigates and prosecutes corrupt public officials, elected and appointed. So it looks like they're casting a pretty wide investigative net to see if any government officials, elected or otherwise, might have been criminally involved or complicit in what happened at the U.S. Capitol. But then there's some bad news. We still have some Donald Trump, Bill Barr lackeys among us, because the acting U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia is this guy named Michael Sherwin. He's been there about 6 months now. He was installed in that position by Bill Barr. He wasn't, confirmed by the Senate. He was placed there by Bill Barr. And I will say, ever since Donald Trump yanked U.S. Attorney Jesse Liu out of the position as top prosecutor in D.C., we have not had a legitimate U.S. attorney in place at the D.C. U.S. Attorney's Office. Now, let me tell you, I know Jesse Liu. I worked with her back in the early 2000s, and she was the last U.S. attorney that I served under before I retired out of that office as a federal prosecutor. I served under 10 U.S. attorneys, and I served in the federal government under every president from Reagan through Trump. And I don't know if Donald Trump yanked Jesse Liu out of her position as the top prosecutor in D.C. because she refused to indict Andrew McCabe. What I can tell you is if she made the decision not to indict or charge Andrew McCabe, it was a decision based exclusively on the evidence, divorced from politics. Because that's who Jesse Liu is. I know her, and I have confidence in her honor and her ethics and her prosecutorial decisions. But then, after they yanked her, they put this guy Tim Shea in there, another Bill Barr lackey, Donald Trump lackey. And what did Tim Shea go about doing as acting U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia? Well, first, he did an enormous favor for Roger Stone, one of Donald Trump's criminal associates, by overruling the 4 career prosecutors who handled the Stone case and dumbing down Roger Stone's sentencing request from the government. That's the first thing he did. Second thing he did is he tried to dismiss the Mike Flynn case, but Judge Emmett Sullivan pushed back. And then Tim Shea got run out on a rail, and Bill Barr installed lackey number 2, Michael Sherwin, who is in the job to this day. What did Michael Sherwin do? Well, among other things, he finished the favor for Mike Flynn by working his butt off to make sure Mike Flynn's case got dismissed under his time, Michael Sherwin's, as acting U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia. And here's what I want you to remember, folks. Under the sad term of Sherwin and Shea as acting U.S. attorneys in D.C., you know what else they did? They had another investigation to look at. And here's the NBC News headline about that investigation. Senate committee made criminal referral of Trump Jr., Bannon, Kushner, and two others to federal prosecutors. That would be to the D.C. U.S. Attorney's Office. And here's how that article begins. The Republican and Democratic leaders of the Senate Intelligence Committee made criminal referrals of Donald Trump Jr., Jared Kushner, Steve Bannon, Erik Prince, and Sam Clovis to federal prosecutors in 2019, passing along their suspicions that the men may have misled the committee during their testimony, which is a nice way to say they committed perjury. And they were referred for criminal investigation by a bipartisan group of senators, Republican and Democrat. And those criminal referrals were made to the D.C. U.S. Attorney's Office and were looked at under the ugly run of Sherwin and Shea. And what did Sherwin and Shea do with the criminal referrals of Donald Trump's family members, among others? Well, they handled those investigations all right. And from outside appearances, what they did was they killed those investigations, because we never heard another peep, and those 5 men were never charged. But let's face it, did we really expect these Bill Barr lackeys, these Donald Trump acolytes, these 2 acting U.S. attorneys, Sherwin and Shea, who did Roger Stone a favor, who did Mike Flynn a favor, who doled out favors to Donald Trump's criminal associates, did we really expect them to hold Don Jr. criminally accountable? Or Jared Kushner, or Steve Bannon, or Erik Prince, or for that matter, Sam Clovis, any of those 5 men? Let me say it again, folks. Those 5 men who were referred for criminal investigation by a bipartisan group of senators, Republicans and Democrats, for seemingly lying to the Senate Intelligence Committee. Let's go back to the good news. Let's finish on a high note, because Michael Sherwin, the current acting U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, and a position that's really important right now, given that that is the office, my former office, handling the attack on the U.S. Capitol, he should be gone in a matter of days. Because I fully expect Joe Biden, Merrick Garland will instantly turn their attention to dislodging the Trump and Bill Barr lackeys from the important positions that they are in at this moment, to the detriment of the country and to we the people. And I am confident we will have a law-abiding, law-enforcing, straight-up U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia who can take over this most consequential investigation. Here's the other really good news, folks, and let me finish on this. Give me 1 more minute. Those prosecutorial decisions made by Sherwin and Shea to not charge Don Jr., Jared Kushner, Steve Bannon, Erik Prince, Sam Clovis, to not charge them, to just sweep it under the rug, get rid of those criminal referrals by a bipartisan group of senators, those decisions will be given a relook. Those prosecutorial decisions will be revisited, I am confident. And if Sherwin and Shea tanked those investigations for the wrong reasons, they will be caught, and that will be remedied. Those cases must be scrutinized, and justice must be done. because justice matters. It matters. And as always, folks, thank you for tuning in to these daily videos. If you would like to more formally support our all-volunteer effort here, you can go over to patreon.com. You can sign up to become a patron. And if you do, I will send you some Team Justice stickers and a personal handwritten note of thanks. You can also find me over on Facebook, Justice Matters with Glenn Kushner, and of course on Twitter all day and night trying to answer your legal questions, and it's at Glenn Kushner 2 on Twitter. As always, folks, please stay safe, please stay tuned, and I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.